Hello, LilyKatchum video. Today we're going to take a look at a team idea that a lot of people used in the last regional that I attended. I found quite interesting, and so we're going to take a look at this one here today as well. You see already, most toxic. What is the most toxic team right now? It is basically the core of the XL variant of Diggersby and the Toxapex. Why is it so toxic? We're going to take a look at this here today. Basically perfect. There are some core breakers. There's basically for any Pokemon combination a core breaker. Like there is basically next to none that don't have one. Here, for example, Drifblim would be one, but this team itself is quite insane, and you can change it yourself basically as well. Basically, this is the backline that you want to have, Diggersby as well as Toxapex, and in the lead, you want to have a Pokemon that somehow can win nearly all the matchups in a 2-shield scenario or like in a 1-shield scenario. Just generally that you get like basically elite Pokemon that wins the most amount of matchup against other ones. Like it doesn't have to, like you can go shields down with the elite, it doesn't really matter, you just have to win the lead matchup. Because if you win the lead, you can just RPS the opponent and they have no choice and literally just gonna go down anyway. So this team itself was insanely overpowered for me, it was insanely successful, and this means also you have different kind of options for the lead. You don't need to have Feraligatr. Feraligatr was just my choice as a Pokemon that's very good, very neutral against a lot of Pokemon and wins a lot of times in a 2-shield scenario, but there are other Pokemon that work well as well. For example, something like a Goodra I could see work very well with this team, or a Dragonair, or I don't know, like anything that is very good in like the 2-shield scenario basically, and that is kind of something like even a Malamar. Malamar would make a lot of sense here for this team to be an elite. It doesn't really have to be a very specific Pokemon, just something that is very good in the 2-shield scenario and wins a lot of matchups in there. And here, for example, Malamar is one of them, having decent fast move pressure, having a lot of charge move pressure as well, having good type coverage. Stuff like this is kind of what you want to look for. Here, oh, we're going to be able to get out the opponent's Toxapex. Yes, they're going to be able to catch a move, but doesn't really matter. I don't really think so. We're going to be able to get some nice energy here as well, swap out into the Diggersby. We should be able to go for one big Scorching Sands, and this is most likely going to put them into range. We can farm them down afterwards. It's going to be a super effective hit here, and we can again align ourselves accordingly, trying to win the battle by this, and it is just quite a lot of fun here. We're going to get the attack drop onto the opponent as well, which is going to be great, because we are not going to be actually able to fully farm them down. We're still going to have to go for Fire Punch eventually. And yeah, so we're gonna go here on the Team P-Tai for the Fire Punch, knock out the opponent's Pokemon, and I'm fairly certain we're going to be in a great spot here, especially as they're going to reveal that they're going to have that Toxapex that's gonna go for a superpower now against a Poison type Pokemon, allowing us to just force them to forfeit. Next opponent, oh, Talonflame, great lead for us. Like again, if you win the lead, you usually win the battle. Here, Gustout can be a bit of a trickier one, but I'm not too worried about it either. I can go for a bait, basically, and then I can swap out into my other Water-type Pokemon, as I don't really have to care too much about alignment here anyway. I have 2 Water-type Pokemon, I don't really care too much about the Talonflame and all of those, as long as I have one of them still alive. And so, it's down to now Gustout against our Toxapex, and we're going to be able to go ahead, let the moves go through. Brutal Swing is going to hit pretty hard, but not hard enough, and we are going to be able to go for that big Sludge Wave, which is going to force the final shield. So they're 2 shields down, still have 2 shields to go, but they're going to try to force alignment here, and I'm not too happy about this. I am definitely not too happy about this, and so I decided to use a shield here, but they decided to swap out into the Talonflame, allowing me to go for the Hydro Cannon, knocking them out, and I don't know what they really did there, but that is definitely fine by me. And so we have a shield advantage, we have switch advantage, we have our Gustout here, the opponent's Gustout against our Diggersby most likely afterwards. We still have the option to even go for a charge move with, I think, that Toxapex. I think we still have a lot of energy on that Pokemon as well. We can keep the shield here, a Brutal Swing does barely do any damage, and so as you're gonna see, we're still gonna be forced to go for a Fire Punch eventually, but as I have the Toxapex in the back, we're going to be easily able to win this one. Oh, it's Clodsire in the lead. Let's see what the opponent gonna do here. It's gonna be a Gastrodon. Gastrodon is one of the core breakers for the backline. That makes it a bit of an awkward one, and this is kind of something I kind of want to talk about as well. There are, again, core breakers that are still existing. For example, also another one would be Quagsire. And against those, it is a bit more tricky. Like if you're going to encounter those, you have definitely a bit more of a tougher time. Here, we're gonna let the move go through. It's going to be the Earth Power doing some decent damage against us. We can use a shield on the next one. Oh, we're actually not going to use a shield here. It's going to be just another Earth Power. So we're gonna be definitely way too low here at this point. We still have a 2 shield advantage, which is kind of cool. But if the opponent is going to have like something like a core breaker here, it is a bit of a tough one when we cannot really hard align our Pokemon, especially as they're going to have a Gustout on the back. That's not really ideal for us either, but I still think we have some decent play here. You're gonna be able to get them kind of low. We would have access to Ice Beam still, but I don't know if I would be able to get there in time. And the Toxapex is now going to go up against the Gustlord, getting some nice damage from the Brutal Swing, but we can still take the hits. It's going to be the Clodsire, of course. We can go for Hydro Cannon. We should have went for a Brine first, by the way. We didn't do that. Brine first would allow us to knock them out here, but yeah, that was kind of silly by me. But at least we're going to be able to go for a Brine here, but not before I use a shield. It's very important to use a shield here, even if they're going to go for the bait, which they do here. You're at least not going to risk any hard-hitting damage, while the Gustlord doesn't really have any hard-hitting damage in terms of the coverage moves or like the charge moves here. And so we are going to be able to read that Sludge Wave very, very soon. Use a shield here just in case. I don't know what it could be. Even a Crunch is like the hardest hitting move I think this Pokemon learns. And so we are going to be able to go for a Sludge Wave and knock them out. And you see already on how this is working. Well, yes, back in the day, toxic teams would be something like Bastion and like double farm down Pokemon. Here, now, like Bastion is a Pokemon that's actually a bit underrated, I have to say. I still think it's great, but I feel like you cannot run the classic toxic lines anymore. Basically, Bastion with type core is getting completely core broken by Clodsire, like to the point where you cannot do anything with those together anyway there. And so there is no real reason to run those two Pokemon together anymore this season, which I feel like is a good thing. So like you have to take a look at some other alternatives for toxic teams, and this is definitely one of them. Especially here, of course, the core of Toxapex as well as Diggersby together in the back is just so strong. Here we're going to be in a bit of a tough spot. We're going to be already down quite a bit in terms of health, in terms of Pokemon. And so let's see if we can still come back from this one. We're going to be able to go for the Brine against the opponent's Medicham. Very likely going to force the KO from the opponent. No, never mind. It actually doesn't. And we have to let the next move go through as well still here. Ice Punch coming through, we still survive, we can swap out here now. And now it's down to Diggersby against the Azumarill, as the opponent is going to decide to stay in. I can go for the Scorching Sands, hoping for a debuff, 30% chance here. And we're gonna get straight away, which means the opponent swaps out into the Pidgeot. We can knock them out as well, and now it's Diggersby against that Azumarill. But because we got so much energy against even the opponent's Pidgeot, we're gonna be in a very solid spot, and they already reveal as well that they're running Hydro Pump plus Play Rough, because they go for a Play Rough here, where Ice Beam would have made way more sense if they would have it. And so we are going to be able to just use a shield here, go up to 2 charge moves, win the battle. There's nothing the opponent can do here. Play Rough is not going to be enough. Or even like, yeah, if they would get to another Play Rough, it wouldn't be enough. They have to go for the Hydro Pump that they're still having there somewhere, but it's not going to work out for them because Scorching Sand is coming through, gonna get the knockout, and again, we're going to be able to win the battle here. Next opponent, we're going to have a horrible lead for us, and this is something that can happen as well, which I kind of want to showcase here. Goodra lead is just very, very tricky to deal with. Goodra is a Pokemon that is, of course, very good against Water-type Pokemon. And so, while we're actually going to be able to, yeah, kind of outspeed it with our Force move, we're going to have a bit of a struggle with the HP stat of our own Feraligatr. And there, for example, other Pokemon might be a bit better again as a lead, which can take a bit more hits. But again, you kind of want to have a Pokemon that is very versatile in the lead, that has a lot of potential in the two-sheet scenario, so good fast move pressure especially, and that, yeah, just generally gets very fast to those charge moves as well. That's kind of important for the lead that you kind of want to run with this team. Goodra, for example, would be a very solid option as well. Here now we're going to be in a very difficult spot though. Goodra is going to be able to do so much damage against us. In comes the Gaston, which I said already before, can be a core breaker for our backline, especially if they run the water type move here. But let's find out what they're going to do. They decide to go for the Body Slam bait, which is really bad for me. And so we're going to be able to go ahead and go for the Scorching Sands now. This is going to be able to get them low, and we can try our best to go for another one here. But let's see what the opponent's going to do. Earth Power is coming through, gonna do not enough damage to knock us out. We can go for another charge move. Is going to be enough? It is, and we can now see in the back, it's going to be a Toxapex. It's going to be a very, very close matchup. We basically are going to be forced to catch a move from the Toxapex onto our own in order to have a chance of winning this battle. Let's see if we can do this. We're going to get the attack drop. We cannot, and so it's going to be still not over though. We can still go for a Sludge Wave, do some solid damage, and it is a down until if we can get to another one in time. Let's see if we can even go maybe for a Scorching Sands again. Let's find out here. It is not really looking too good for us. We can still go for a Brine though, which is doing some solid damage. And it is gonna, yeah, be sadly a loss here. And that's gonna be fine. And we can move on to the next opponent. Next opponent, we're going to have here the Azumarill in the lead, that is going to be a very solid matchup for us, which seems funny, but yeah, you win this matchup quite easily as a Feraligatr, just because Feraligatr is so strong. We are going to be able to go for the Hydro Cannon. This is going to be enough to get them down to their yellow health already, and we're going to just outspeed them in the two-shield scenario, which is kind of the madness thing there. We're just going to be able to do some neutral fast move damage, the opponent does resist fast move damage, and we're just going to be so much faster with the Hydro Cannon, which is a stab move, which is a very strong move. And so as you're going to see here, we're going to force alignment. And again, we already got rid of like one of the Pokemon which Toxapex would be very good against, which is kind of sad for us, of course, but it's way more important to win the lead here. And as you're gonna see, I decided to use even another shield, and Dunsparce comes in. Diggersby is one of the best answers to Dunsparce right now, and that is also one of the reasons why people are running this Pokemon in the play Pokemon format, so for sure something worth picking up right now. Let's see what the opponent's going to do here next. It's going to be the Drill Run coming in and doing some solid damage. We are going to be able to go for our own Scorching Sands again. That is going to be able to connect, get them low, try to go for another Scorching Sands afterwards, of course with good fast move timing here. See if we're going to get a debuff, but anyway, we're going to be able to get them really low here. They had a ton of energy already because we stayed in before, and so we are going to be able to fully farm them down now with Quick Attack as they swap out into the Dugong. I want to swap out a bit earlier, but I kind of was a bit clunky there, I guess. They're forced to go for 3 drill runs in order to knock us out, and so the first one is coming through, not doing enough damage. The fast move damage is not really adding up in time either, and so they're going to be forced to go for even 2 more drill runs in order to knock out our Toxapex, showcasing again on how bulky and toxic this line is. And yeah, compared to like the other toxic matchups, maybe do you want to see an actual real toxic team again, like one that has like all of the shadow Pokemon, all of the fast move pressure? Let me know down in the description as well. Description, comment section, of course, would be really appreciative for some feedback for those videos. Always kind of read them, so yeah, feel free to send in your feedback down there. We're gonna be able to go for the full farm against Dugong, and now it seems to be Gator games as we're gonna be able to knock out that Dunsparce. Could have farmed them down as well, I think, but it is looking quite good here as we can even go for the knockout against the Azumarill now. So, let's take a look what the next opponent is going to run. We're going to have Feraligatr against Beedrill. What an interesting Pokemon. Again, we have the awkward thing that we don't have a lot of HP, and means the opponent is going to do a little bit more damage with their Stab Poison Jab compared to our non-Stab Shadow Claw, which we're going to see here already. The opponent is going to be able to go for a charge move quite fast. Hopefully it is not going to be the bait. It is going to be extra. There's also Felt Stinger that this Pokemon can learn, which is going to be a cheaper move that boosts the opponent's attack and basically does no damage against me. So using a shield can be a bit of a trickier one. Speaking of a bit tricky, we're going to have the Dugong against us here, which we are going to swap out now into our Toxapex. Again, we're going to be able to take at least 3 hits from the opponent. Like the third one is going to knock us out, but that is fine. We're going to let the next move go through here again. It does not really matter too much. We are going to be able to even get the knockout still anyway with that next Sludge Wave, and so I'm kind of happy about the position that we are in. We're going to be able to get that knockout now, and let's see what they're going to go back into. They're going to go back into the Beedrill here. We can try to go for our Brine. Brine would do enough to knock them out. Drill Run is coming through here. We're gonna swap out into the Beedrill, and I can try to go for the full farm down. As we will see here as well, the shield is coming up from us. It is going to be the Exeter. We are going to see the Greninja, and we can try our best to go for a Scorching Sands to try to get them low, try to get the knockout. Let's see here. It's going to get the shield from them. They're not going to get the debuff, but we can go for another one here as the opponent gets a free fast move in, which is not ideal at all. But we can now try our best here. The attack is going to drop. We have a charge move start on the Feraligatr, but they win the CMP time. So we have to be a bit careful, but I was able to now trick them a bit here and knock them out with that Feraligatr. And we're going to see as well that the Beedrill is going to go down as well. Final battle for today. There were actually a lot of battles I did with this team, by the way, so shout out to you if you were not in there as well. Basically, battles take quite a bit longer with this toxic team, but they are consistent, very consistent wins with this team here for sure. It is one of the most toxic kind of ways of playing right now. Trying to win the lead, trying to just up-PS the opponent on the backline is the way to go. What is not the way to go is literally what we're going to encounter here. We get completely hard-walled, and this is something I kind of just want to showcase here as well. You can still get completely hard-walled. Not everything is always going to go to plan, and that is fine. That's kind of calculated anyway into it. You're not going to win them all, but again, if you see the opportunity to win the lead or get like any kind of advantage from the lead, basically it's game over. I think I have not lost really a game yet where I won the lead with this team, and that is kind of ridiculous because you can just always RPS the opponent. There's basically no Pokemon that can really deal with both of the Pokemon in the back here other than, I guess the Drifblim. Drifblim is like the only Pokemon, because it's a flying type Pokemon resisting Scorching Sand. It's Ghost type, going to be able to resist the fast move of both of our Pokemon, plus of course the Sludge Wave, making it a decent core breaker while having super effective coverage against the Diggersby is kind of nice for it as well. So other than Drifblim, this team is nearly flawless, and as you're gonna see here, we're going to have a bit of a tough time against this opponent. They played very, very well, but of course they also had just great alignment as well there. We're gonna be able to go ahead and go for the Hydro Cannon, knock out that Cresselia. It's down now to our Diggersby, which is gonna take an extra free charm here, which is not ideal. That's gonna be able to connect now the opponent's Subsword into the Mandibuzz, and there's not a lot that I can do here because Mandibuzz is just a bit too strong for me. I can go for the Fire Punch, it barely does any damage, and so yeah, this is going to be a game over. We are not going to be able to win the final battle, but still, this is going to allow me to say thanks for all the support on the videos. I would really appreciate if you would leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. It is free, it is really helping me out. I wouldn't say it if it wouldn't help me out, so feel free to do that. Would really appreciate it. But yeah, this is going to be it for this video. Let me know in the comment section if you want to try out this toxic strategy. If you do, feel free to leave a like as well, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.